Om Yairime Gurubhih Purvam Padavakya Pramanatah Vyakyata Sarva Vedanta Tan Nityam Pranatosmyaham. The topic for this webinar on this day of October 13, 2019, Sunday, is Strength from Upanishads. I am happy to present a few thoughts on strength, bala, shakti, and so on, based on certain Upanishads. And on this day, I am speaking from the residence of Srinath, one of the organizers very often in the area of Dallas in Texas. Strength is life, weakness is death, said Swami Vivekananda. What kind of strength are we talking about? Certainly, with due respect and acknowledging that physical strength, financial strength, emotional strength, etc., have a place of their own. We value them. However, the Upanishads are talking about a strength which is way above all these. In the sense, if any of these or all of these kinds of strength are with a man, but he does not have spiritual strength, the supreme form of moral strength, he still is weak. And if someone has this spiritual strength and somehow does not have enough money or enough muscle power and so on, that person will all the same be fearless, be very secure. Strength of the Upanishads is closely connected to freedom from fear. The Taittiriya Upanishad talks about abhaya. So do many other Upanishads, but we shall mainly draw from Taittiriya Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda in this webinar. In the Brahmananda Valli, we have at two places the mantra going na bibheti kadachaneti na bibheti kutaschaneti. Kadachana means at any time. Kutaschana means due to any reason. Someone who is anchored in clear self-knowledge does not fear at any time and has no fear coming from any quarters. Therefore, to be anchored in utter fearlessness, when somebody is free of any anxiety, what may happen, somebody will kill me, somebody will take away things that are very dear to me, will my dreams be shattered, I want to become something and will I fail in that? In this way, there are numerous fears that affect human mind, but na bibheti kadachaneti, na bibheti kutaschaneti are two sentences in the Taittiriya Upanishad, second chapter, Brahmananda Valli. Adi Shankara, while commenting on the expression na bibheti kutaschaneti, which comes almost towards the end of Brahmananda Valli, comments or says, first of all, the mantra goes like this: Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anando brahmano vidwan na bibheti kutascha neti. Anandam brahmano vidwan. Vidwan means someone who knows. Here, it is not some knowledge of one of the sciences, one of the forms of apara vidya. It is rather the bliss of Brahman. Anandam Brahmano Vidwan. One who knows the bliss of being Brahman, realizing one's true nature as that limitless Brahma, such a person is talked about. Anandam Brahmano Vidwan na bibheti kutaschaneti is the mantra. On that, Adi Shankara comments, he throws more light on who is this Vidwan, this lady or man who knows the bliss of Brahman. Who is this? Drawing from words found in the Upanishad itself at other places. Shankaracharya says, Shrotriyasya avrajinasya akamahatasya sarvaishana vinirmuktasya atma-bhutam vishaya sambandha vinirmuktam swabhavikam nityam avibhaktam paramanandam brahmano vidwan. Someone vidwan is that person who knows the supreme bliss, paramanandam, brahmanaha, of Brahman, and in the context of Brahmananda itself, this happiness is said to be realized by someone who knows the central message of the Vedas very clearly, Shrotriya, who also is sinless, avrajina. Therefore, the importance given in spirituality is to an utterly pure mind. As we think, so we become. If we entertain thoughts which are after money or power, after name or fame, if we entertain thoughts which have the flavor of wanting to become somebody, I want to become somebody, the whole town should talk of me, talk about me, I should be known internationally. In this kind of thoughts, the very thoughts take one away from Brahman. Whereas if there is an understanding, I am fine the way I am. I don't have to become anybody. Leave alone international name or fame. Even one other person doesn't have to know my greatness. Others knowing my greatness is not the crux of the matter. I must know I am great. I am Brahman. This is the clarity. So Avrajina is someone who has the purest mind. A pure mind gets Brahmajnana, and in Brahmajnana the mind becomes totally pure. There is an interesting relationship between the two. We are at a loss to say whether pure mind leads to Brahman or Brahman leads to pure mind. In fact, that question is not an important one. If you truly understand, you will see that a pure mind and Brahmanistha are two sides of the same coin. The means and the end merge there. What is the means and what is the end? If A is the means and B is the end, or B is the means and A is the end, they become two situations. But here A and B are one. Therefore, there is no question what leads to what. There is a snap, there is a quantum leap, and mind is utterly pure. There is Brahmanistha. Shrotriyasya avrajinasya akamahatasya. Somebody who has no selfish desire at all. As we already threw light on it, that personal ambition. Even using spiritual knowledge to become power or to become powerful, to get things done in one's own way, etc., smack of ignorance only. Adi Shankara uses expressions which are found in various Upanishads. Sarva eshana vinirmuktasya. This eshana vinirmukta is an expression drawn from Brihadaranyaka. Lokeshana, vitteshana, putreshana, wanting grand karma phalas in the form of Swargaloka and so on, and wanting a whole lot of wealth, vitteshana, wanting putra or shishya, lot of people to follow one. I want followers, I want my sons or daughters who will stand by me. In various ways, the human mind creates, this is self-created dependence on objects and persons or things outside. Sarva eshana virmuktasya. The Upanishads teach us that there is a way of being where we do not slavishly depend upon any external factor. So, to such a person who is talked about in Brahmanandavalli itself, this expression Shrotriyasya Akamahatasya is right there in the Brahmanandavalli. A learned person, not bookish learning, but some insightful understanding of all the Vedic teachings. Shrotriya Avrajina knows the truth of his own being, and that truth is now described by Shankara as Vishaya Vishayi Sambandha Vinirmuktam. Ordinarily, our human consciousness perceives a division between what is perceived and the one that is perceiving. The seen and the seer, the known and the knower. This division is Vishaya and Vishayi. But here, when the mind becomes extremely pure, the mind attains a certain stillness, and the mind is hit by that liberating insight, one then sees that there is no division between the observed and the observer. Vishaya is the observed, Vishayi is the observer. Vishaya Vishayi Sambandha Vinirmuktam Swabhavikam. One also sees, this is my true nature. This is not something borrowed. This is not imported. It is not taken from somewhere else. It has been with me, and I am noticing it with all clarity at this time. Swabhavikam, Atma-bhutam, these are the words. Nityam, Avibhaktam, this is eternal. This is undivided. Nitya, it is timeless, and Avibhakta, having no divisions. Thus, we repeatedly call this a quantum leap. The lower level is where there are divisions between the object and subject. There are temporal divisions on the axis of time, past and future. There are spatial divisions, far and near and outside and inside and so on. But upon that quantum leap happening, one is established in a different sphere, on a different plane, and that is undivided in all respects. That is the Paramananda. That is referred to in this Taittiriya Shruti, Anandam Brahmano Vidwan. Whoever knows this, whoever with his or her insight beholds this, then na bibheti kutaschaneti. Such a person has no fear. And this state of no fear is the strength that Upanishads speak of. In Mundaka Upanishad, there is the famous line, Nayam atma balahinena labhyaha. Those who are weak cannot come upon self-knowledge. Over there, Shankaracharya says, Bala here is ātma-nisthā-janita-veeryam. It is a certain power, certain strength born of anchoring oneself in the Atma, not by having enough bank balance. It is not the strength which a man feels in a passing way for a while, temporarily, by having a lot of politicians behind himself. If I am in trouble, this senator, that member of parliament will pull me out of trouble. In this way, when a man feels, temporarily there is a fearlessness. One feels, I am strong, nobody can touch me because that senior politician is extremely close to me. I just make one call and he will take care of things. All that bala, all that strength is very inferior and utterly undependable. Here is the strength, ātma-nisthā-janita-veeryam. Over there also in the Mundaka, it appears that the strength born of abidance in the self is a means to gain the highest self-knowledge. As we said before, this gap between the means and the end becomes less and less and then vanishes into thin air. Where there is this bala, strength, there is self-knowledge. Where there is self-knowledge, there is the supreme strength. We take one more passage for this webinar and conclude. In that very Brahmananda Valli of the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is another expression about abhayam. It is said, someone who anchors oneself in the nameless, the formless, indescribable pure self. The ego in us has name, has form, has 100 descriptions applicable to it. When we operate through the balcony of the ego, this ego is describable. When we ask ourselves, who am I? And we are riding on a wave of ego, we answer, I am the richest man. I am head of a company. I am father of 3 children. These are all describable. The Taittiriya mantra says, Abhayam pratishtam vindate. With a certain grammatical modification to fit into modern grammar, it would be Abhayam pratishtam. For pratishtha is feminine. Abhayam pratishtam vindate. One gets established in utter fearlessness. When does that happen? It is said, Yada he vaisha etasmin adrishye anatme anirukte anilayane pratishtam vindate atasaha abhayam gato bhavati. A man or a lady, a girl or a boy, does not matter, age is not an issue, caste, gender, color of the skin, nationality, none of these matters in the Vedanta. Anybody who gains anchoring, who gains stability, pratishtha means being stable somewhere. Pratishtha, when he attains in what is adrishya, our body can be seen, but the pure self cannot be seen. When through self-inquiry, when through incessant questioning, who am I, we drive away all ideas of I am thin or fat, tall or short, old or young, and 100 other, 1,000 other ideas, which are all either visible through eyes or conceivable through the mind. But here is the pure self, when all of them are dismissed, what remains is the pure self, that is adrishya. Adrishye anatmye. While the pure self is the inner essence of everything, there is nothing else which is the inner essence of the pure self. So it has no atma further inside. It is the ultimate. Sa kashta, sa paragatihi, as Kathopanishad declares. Etasmin adrishye anatme anirukte. Whatever is subject to modification can be described. Nirukti means to define it, to say this is like this. But here, since it has no modifications, no boundaries changing either, it is anirukta, anilaya. It doesn't require any shelter. Everything else is to be sheltered somewhere. Today you talk about all kinds of software, and then we say that computer over there is hosting. Other day I was told by a friend that the famous company Amazon makes really more money, or it makes real money through cloud hosting or web hosting. That may be the better word, web hosting. Generally, all of us know that Amazon makes money. Their business is about delivering any product, any goods, book or dress or electronic gadgets or whatever. You order it on Amazon, then it comes to your doorstep. That's how general public know Amazon. A to Z, both the letters are in that word. And Amazon also is a wide river flowing in South America. Though appropriately named, the company claims to get anything for you from a wide range of options. But I was told 10 days back that it doesn't make so much money in that field. The profits of Amazon are by hosting websites. And I was amazed. Likewise, coming back here, Nilaya means hosting. So, where is this Atma hosted? Someone may ask, where is the computer where Atma is, actually sitting in a memory chip or some kind of storage device? The answer is Atma does not need any host. It is the host. Everything resides in Atma. It doesn't reside anywhere. In this kind of mind-blowing true principle of the pure self, when we anchor ourselves, then abhayam pratishtam vindate, atha, having gained anchor there or having anchored there, abhayam gato bhavati. Instead, in contrast, suppose any of us, we have been doing it already, and what is that? We are time and again perceiving because of ignorance. That ignorance itself is the erroneous perception. In our case, there is the erroneous perception of division. Talking of this erroneous perception marked by division, the same mantra says, Yada hi eva esha etasmin udaramantaram kurute. Ut aram means even a little. Ut is even, ara means a little. Udaram. This udaram has nothing to do with stomach. This is ut plus aram. Yada he vaisha etasmin udaramantaram kurute. Swalpamapi antaram kurute. Atatasya bhayam bhavati. That is when there is fear. One becomes weak. Strength is fearlessness. Weakness is absence of fear. And that is emphatically repeated by the Upanishad saying, Tatveva bhayam vidushaha amanvanasya. Man means to understand. Man manute. Manvana is somebody who understands. Amanvana is someone who doesn't understand the undivided, unbroken, homogeneous, all-pervasive truth, which is one's own true nature. That is, someone who doesn't understand that indivisible truth is amanvana, and amanvanasya bhayam bhavati. Whoever is anchored in the self, abhayam gato bhavati. But whoever does not understand this is caught in fear. Tasya bhayam bhavati. How in explicit and straightforward ways the Upanishad talks about who is afraid, who is unafraid. The Vidwan, one who has the pure self-knowledge, Vidwan, is not afraid. He is strong, come what may. He takes it all in his stride. Avidwan, the ignorant one, is afraid, therefore is weak. Strength is from purest wisdom, and weakness, which Vivekananda called death itself, is because of lack of right seeing. Therefore, what is highly valued is right seeing, samyak darshana. Therefore, Upanishads urge us to move towards samyak darshana nishtha. Samyak darshana is where we must firmly establish ourselves. That doesn't happen by a birthday resolution or a New Year resolution. Don't say on December 31st evening, I have resolved that tomorrow onwards I am going to be Samyak Darshana Nishtha. You cannot come upon that by resolving. You must study, you must reflect, and having got a degree of clarity, you must face your own mind, your own thoughts. You must, in the light of what you have studied, weaken the ideas of I am this or I am that, or I must become that, I must become this. All these thoughts, I am incomplete, I am in great trouble, all these have to be questioned. Face them, face your own mind, which doesn't mean you don't do anything about some financial trouble or health issue. That is a different matter. Even as you are doing what may be done, that noise in your mind, that self-judgment, that label that you put upon yourself, oh, how fit I was, and today the doctors say I have multiple problems in my body. How sad. That kind of commentary. Question those commentaries. If the doctor says there is a defect, there is some damage, some organ is not functioning properly, you may jolly well and you should go and get the treatment. But you must have that inner voice saying whether it gets right or does not get right. In the depth of my being, there is no loss, there is no gain. I am not this body. Should not be just a matter of repeating some words like a parrot does, but it should come out. These words should come out of clear understanding. And the clear understanding is not through just memorizing mantras or shlokas. It is not through simply reading all kinds of books or just becoming scholarly. Along with essential scholarship, which is necessary, one must engage in self-inquiry. For that, one must give up a whole lot of unnecessary talk. As Mundaka Upanishad advises, Anyavacho vimunchatha. The mumukshu, one who wants freedom from all sorrow, should give up or at least drastically reduce his involvement in petty politics, in various issues which might hit the headlines of newspapers. He should not waste time or energy. He must be concerned with rooting out human sorrow on a fundamental level. Thus, in two mantras of Taittiriya Upanishad, second chapter, the seventh Anuvaka has this Abhaye pratishtam vindate atasaha abhayam gato bhavati, and the ninth Anuvaka of the same Brahmananda Valli talks about nabibheti kutaschaneti. Before that, the fourth Anuvaka also has that expression nabibheti kadachaneti. All other Upanishads too have pointers to the same, but here it is expressed in much more emphatic and crystal clear way. Ishavasya says, tato na vijugupsate, yastu sarvani bhutani ātmanā-nisthā-janita-veeryam, sarva bhuteshu cha ātmanam tataha na vijugupsate. Then in that unitary vision, undivided vision, the person does not anymore fear or get embarrassed or get anxious. All that is contained in the word Vijugupsate. The very next mantra, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tasya ko mohaha kashokaha. Where is any more delusion? Where is any more grief? Ekatvam anupashyataha. To someone who sees ekatva, that everything is one. All desire to become somebody subsides because one says, I am already that. I don't want to become the Prime Minister, I am already the Prime Minister. I don't want to become the President, I am already the President. I don't want to become the Olympic gold medal winner. Why? I am already that. What do you mean? Are you mad? How can you be the gold medal winner in Olympics? You see, that vision of Atma, it makes it clear that I am that pure consciousness, and that Olympic gold medal winner and the president, the prime minister, and anyone else, all of them are that one pure self only, appearing in this or that way. You have gone to that essence of life in all life forms. Therefore, there is no need to become. There is no fear of slipping from some position or some privilege. Duality, as perceived, as misconceived really by the mind, is the cause of feeling weak and feeling let down. There was the story of a dog that entered a mirror house and mistaking the reflections of himself in the many mirrors that were in the room, and mistaking those reflections to be other dogs, this dog gets very insecure and starts barking, and he finds that all other bad dogs also are barking back at him. Then he pounces upon all of them one at a time, and you can imagine the mirrors break, glass pieces are all on the floor, and this dog continues to fight with the other dog. There is no other really, but conceived wrongly by his ignorant mind. There is this other dog, there are those other dogs, and this dog in that tragic story meets with death. Next morning, the owner comes and finds the dog dead, lying in a pool of blood. In this dramatic story, the philosophical point conveyed is the sense of other is a basic error by the avidya-grasta mind. And Upanishads are to eliminate this avidya, this particular basic, fundamental, erroneous perception. That is how Shankara says in his commentary on the Brahma Sutra, in what is called Mundaka Bhāshya. Tasya prahanaya sarve vedantaha pravartante. Vedanta means Upanishad. All the Upanishads are meant to eliminate. Prahana means elimination. Asya anarthasya, sarvatrika anarthasya. This anartha, this evil called spiritual ignorance is so widespread. Sarvatrika. Asya anartha hetoho adhyasasya prahanaya sarve vedantaha pravartante. This is a very, very essential statement. Therefore, let me conclude this presentation, making way for some questions and answers. Let me say that strength in its purest form, in its most wholesome form, in the healthiest form, strength is derived by spiritual wisdom. It is derived by ātma-nisthā. Upanishads throw light on the Atma and they equip us with ways and means to destroy avidya, spiritual ignorance. Error goes away and right seeing comes into being. In right seeing, we are at most strongest, you may say. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please ask a question if you have. Okay. So, Mr. Ganti has a text comment. This is another good example, says Ganti, of practical application of Upanishads to our daily living, how to be strong. Thank you. Thank you too. Then we have I don't see any hand raised or text question other than that. Here with me, physically around me, we have one of the organizers of the webinars, Mr. Srinath. Do you have a question, Srinath?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, he says thank you and he does not have a question at present. And if he has questions, I am there with him the whole day. I think later he may ask me 10 questions.
Yeah.
So, but right now,
Anybody has any questions?
Srinath is asking whether Vibhaji has any questions.
Swamiji, Gargi has a text question.
Huh?
Gargi has text questions, Swamiji.
Okay, yeah, now I am able to see. Let me open it. What is in passive awareness? So what is in passive awareness? Yes. You see, sometimes we use the expression self-inquiry. That was especially highlighted by Sri Ramana Maharshi. Not different from it, but using another expression of language, someone like J. Krishnamurti or Vimalatakar and a galaxy of mystics, spiritual teachers use the expression passive awareness. So before I plunge into passive awareness, what it is, one is inquiring, another is observing. Inquiry and observation are really one and the same. But the language seems to highlight a certain flavor. What actually happens has both the flavors. There is observation and there is inquiry. If there were to be observation without inquiry, then intelligence is not operating. And if there were to be inquiry without observation, again, intelligence is not fully operating. Without seeing, how can one inquire? One has to see and one has to have a questioning outlook. Need not be verbal. Who am I inquiry of Ramana Maharshi is verbal only in the beginning. In heightened awareness, there are no words that are required. In fact, words are a nuisance. Words are an unwelcome intrusion into self-inquiry. So having said that, self-inquiry expressed in another way is self-observation, or perhaps the word self is no more necessary, it's just observation. There's nothing like observing inside or outside, oneself or something outside. Awareness or observation takes everything in its scope. And now comes the question, what is passive awareness? This word passive is significant because generally our sanskaras, our past impressions are such. In anything and everything, we want to roll up our sleeves and say, what do I do now? What do I do? What is the next step? And the lofty teachers smile at us and say, come on, this doing, this getting going, to do something with hands, to do something with speech, to do something with thought, are all okay in various other contexts. But over here, you must let go of that urge to do. You must be anchored in pure seeing. The light of seeing does everything. You don't have to do anything. Moment you say, I'm going to analyze my problem. I'm going to tear my ego into parts and examine all that is crazy old habit. Your ego is not like some alarm clock, mechanical clock, which can be disassembled, then you see how it works. The ego, if at all, is so complex that any intervention, any interference where you become a karta, you become a doer, you become an analyst, it actually messes up things. The analyst, which is a necessary part of analysis, there cannot be analysis without an analyst. And this analyst is right away a product of memory. The analyst is another form of the ego. The analyst, which Vedanta calls as karta, Vishleshana karta is analyst. So Vishleshana karta is also another karta. Whereas what is required is nishtha, firm abidance in akarta. So that akartratva or akartra bhava is expressed by the adjective passive awareness. So passive is not in a negative sense here. Somewhere else, you and I, suppose we are passive, pay a price for it. Where action is needed, where some words have to be spoken. You have hurt somebody and it is good for you to say sorry. If you don't say sorry and just look at his face, and that person is just now very hurt by some irresponsible comment by you, if you remain passive, he will feel very sad. He hurt me but did not even apologize, and so on. That's another domain. On the domain of kayena vacha manasa, action, speech, and thought, you need to be active. But in the domain of self-inquiry, in the domain of the subtlest exercise in human life, where the quantum leap is to take place, where you go from the limited not to a better form of the limited, you go from limited to the unlimited. You go from space-time domain to something which is untouched by space-time. It's not by doing kayena vacha manasa, rather it is by staying. How wonderful! The English stay and the Sanskrit sta mean the same. Nishtha, that is firmly staying, you may say. Sta tishtati by Sandhi rule becomes sta. Nis plus sta, ni plus sta. Ni plus sta becomes nishtha. So passive awareness is observing without the immature movement of the mind where an analyst raises his ugly head, a karta comes into the picture which messes up or spoils the scene, and it throws a spanner in the works. The requirement is being aware, and you don't do anything, things happen. The structure called the ego folds up by itself. So passive is a beautiful word here, and we have to understand the limitations of being active. How being active causes disturbance. When we appreciate that, then being active subsides. Then there is passive awareness. In no way, lastly, passive awareness is some form of dullness. Passive awareness is full, bright awareness. The moment some active agent comes, that causes a shadow as though. So there is no shadow, there is no shade of a kartru, a doer. Then that is passive awareness. So A.R. Ganti also says, welcome back to USA. Oh, thank you. I guess I will come to your area if, I don't know, you perhaps are in California. So Gargi again says, to remain uncertain and open is one of the aspects of it. Yes, you are open, you are uncertain, you are not sure, and so on. So that too is.
Swamiji, there's help from Purna Rao.
Who?
Purna Rao is asking a question. I enabled her mic.
Yes. So.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste, Purnaji. How are you?
I'm all right and very much in India. The question I wanted to ask you, Swamiji, is that in this particular, the webinar that you have taken, it talks about Brahma Vidya. Now, the question I wanted to ask is it inclusive or is it exclusive? Because if we are thinking in terms of I am the person who's now, not the other person, but I am one who's akin to the great Brahman and so on. And so is everybody else in this world. Yeah. Now, would it be called inclusive or exclusive?
It is inclusive. If somebody says, I am Brahman and others are not, then that person is highly mistaken. It's totally inclusive. Yeah. Exclusive means, you would put a dividing line. I am Brahman and others who don't know Sanskrit or who have not done sadhana, that very idea of others goes away.
No, the question asked is, Swamiji, the others do not exist in this search for the Brahman then.
Oh, no, that's not that way. the false notion of superiority or inferiority goes away. Others, in terms of names and forms, in terms of personalities, continue as much as before, if not more. In fact, what goes away is the attachment or hatred. So this language is a bit mystical language. We do say sometimes there are no others, but actually what is meant is the slightest trace of he won and I lost, or she lost and I won. That goes away, because there is a labeling that I am less fortunate, she is more fortunate. But those things go away. But otherwise, transactionally, one becomes more compassionate than ever before. If otherwise, people like Ramana Maharshi, etc., would have not answered questions even. They wouldn't have shown love and compassion to people. Once they enjoy this unitary vision that I am no superior to anybody, nor am I inferior to anybody, something happens inside them. They are so much at peace with themselves out of this unitary vision. Then when they see somebody crying, spontaneously, not because it is a virtue, it is said in some book of morality, help others, etc., but spontaneously, while they are anchored in that inexplicable bliss, they ask the person, why are you crying? Oh, you are hungry, let me get you some food. Oh, you have a doubt, come sit, let us discuss. So all that happens spontaneously, and the inner intelligence, let me say lastly, the inner intelligence of the enlightened person will be looking at the so-called his personality also with objectivity. So there is no, real division of others and me. The one's own personality, others' personalities are all as though illumined by one light. So it's a bit tricky when you reflect on it. Suddenly you will get to see. It's like some figure you are unable to see in a maze, and once you see that, you quite likely you won't miss it again. So
Thank you, Swamiji.
Oh yeah. Let me go to Prasad Vepa, who has raised a hand. Yes, Prasad ji.
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you again for another inspiring and beautiful lecture. So the essence of these verses, as you said beautifully in the phrase, what Upanishads are exhorting us to do is the Samyak Darshan Nishtha. So that is seeing and staying.
Seeing and staying, yeah.
So that's sort of a capsule summary you beautifully said in that phrase. Yeah. So besides Shravana, Marana, and Nididhyasana, the reading and reflecting and the deep concentration, what else is there? And of course, the sadhana and preparing to have a pure mind. So what else is there besides these three things, Shravana, Marana, and Nididhyasana?
Yeah. The good news is, on one hand, it appears there are already three, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and then maybe some exercises for purifying mind, 4, 5, 6. From one angle, it looks like there are several components. But on the other hand, all these are nothing but expressions of a certain aspiration. You are in the quest mode. So the rest of it is scholarship. You define, label, you call this as this practice, you call that as that practice. Actually, it's like somebody goes in search of a jewel that is lost in the forest. He knows this jewel is there somewhere. Somewhere he may bend, somewhere he may be straight, somewhere he takes a little rest, somewhere he turns a flashlight on, somewhere else. So many things he does. Essentially, it is a mind that is searching. Therefore, this is like analyze and you find it is many, synthesize and you find that it is just one. Just as in Bhakti Yoga we would say The Navavidha Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, and so on. 9 kinds of Bhakti. But then it is said, what 9 kinds? Just love God in whatever way you can. Likewise, in Jnana Yoga, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and Dharma Palana, or some other kind of pranayama, control the mind. 100 things may be said, but we say it is all, you have a lot of freedom. That's why I called it good news. You can package your sadhana in your own way. The essential life-giving factor in this sadhana is you are eager to know who you are. Who am I? Who am I? I want to know who I am. Then depending on your purva sanskars, your past impressions, in that burning desire for knowing yourself, you may accommodate a few exercises. Some of us do some puja every morning, let us. That's our purva sanskar. Puja every morning is neither necessary nor considered obstacle, nor is it considered not useful. It does some good. So pura sanskaras, your exposure, since you are exposed to the traditional Vedanta, you will be studying Upanishads and so on. Somebody else somewhere else may not be exposed, may have very weak knowledge of various concepts. But if the burning desire for knowing oneself is strong, maybe like in Eckhart Tolle or in John Klein or Francis Lucille, there are many, masters. In your own San Francisco Bay Area, you have that Adya Shanti. So if you see the life of Adya Shanti and such people, who sometimes we believe are illumined, enlightened, we don't know. But what happened in their case is there was an immense desire to know the truth. And then in some Buddhist package, in some Vedanta package, in some combination, they went ahead. And what saved them, what took them apparently to their destination is the intense desire. Whereas many of us, equipped with a lot of knowledge about 100 kinds of sadhana, suppose are weak in this desire for liberation, we will just be accumulating books. We are surrounded by concepts. That's what I may say in this context.
Thank you, Swamiji. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Sure. Within a few days, yeah. So Vijay Lakshmi has a text question. Is it wrong to think that I am right? Is right absolute, or does it have many aspects? Sometimes, in some contexts, to think I am right is wrong. Yeah, we go on every day, we learn so many things. We realize that I was wrong in some matter. We correct ourselves. So right is not absolute, but on the highest level, it is an absolute truth. But in transactional level, for thousands of years, humanity believed the earth was the center of the universe. Then they understood the earth revolves around the sun. Therefore, whether it is in science or some external activities or in moral matters, moral issues, some people suddenly realize that even taking milk or yogurt, etc., is a form of violence. They become vegans. So, should you and I become vegans, avoiding all animal products? It's difficult to say. So, there things what is right, what is wrong, is not absolute. I met a boy here in Dallas who has shocked his parents and siblings by becoming totally vegan. He gets very uneasy when he sees people taking a little ghee, even little clarified butter that is from the cow and whatever. Sorry. So absolute in transactional world, in the Vyavahara Prapancha, it's extremely difficult to have a final word on what is right, what is wrong. So we say, I normally talk of a golden rule. The golden rule in life is be true to yourself. Do not think in one way but act in another way. That gap between what you think is good and how actually you do in transactions is like a poison which weakens you, which robs you of the energy which is needed for the highest realization. Let me conclude my answer. They asked Ramana Maharshi, is it wrong to eat meat? And Maharshi did not say right or wrong. He said, find out who eats whom. So there is a certain level where the right and wrong take a back seat. That is how it is. It's quite complex. All right. Enjoyed speaking to all of you and enjoyed your questions. We meet again next Sunday. And so next week again we have another webinar by me. Then I think Dr. Timmappa Hegde will present towards the end of the month. Namaste. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om.